What is up, guys? It's Isaac here. It's Back Road Harley-Davidson with your pre-owned bike of the week, the ultimate bike for mile crushing, this 2022 Harley-Davidson Ultra Limited. Now there's a lot of colors that I liked, and then the more I saw them, the more they grew on me. And this is definitely one of those at the top of the list. This is the Reef Blue and Vivid Black. So it is a two-tone, and you get this blue out in the sunshine, out on the road, it's sharp. And especially with this black trim, it looks pretty good. And this bike in particular is pretty close to bone stock because these bikes came ready to rock and roll with a lot of great stuff. You had your biggest thing separating it out and making it an Ultra is that you did have a little bit of these extensions on the batwing fairing, let more wind around if you needed, and then you did have these lowers, and it came with the tour pack. Now, big thing about these lowers is this is one of these motors, a lot of people didn't realize is that these 114 Milwaukee 8s were actually already liquid cooled. So instead of utilizing just that oil cooler down below, they actually ran water through the heads on these bikes. And so whereas the bikes we now see on those 23 and 4s, we now call them center cooled, these were twin cooled because they had little radiators inside these front fairings or fairing lowers. So you'll see if you look down through here, you can see one of the fans right there. So that was a really cool feature to have. So if you were standing near this bike, then you might hear a fan run and be like, what is that? It's like, well, actually, it's the radiator. Neat, but besides that, pretty stock. There's a nice cozy seat, a little bit taller rear suspension. You do have a backrest on this. Plenty of comfort for the passenger. Looks like they have hog-tuned speakers on it. Yeah, I mean, if you're a passenger, you're going to want this one because look at this recliner you've got with these big old floorboards. You'll be sitting nice and cozy. Lots of storage room. You have the two standard size saddle bags. And then you have the luggage rack and the tour pack. This tour pack is big enough to fit 2 helmets in, and then even a jacket or so if you need to. So if you just like being able to have somewhere to lock your helmet up, it's pretty great for that. Does not come with the wallet or my microphone. So, but big old antenna there, fired up. Let's go see what it looks like. Oh, and these nice little highway bars or highway pegs. Now, this bike does have over 33,000 miles. Looks like 33,676 right now at the start of the video. We're going to add a couple more to it, but looks like pretty relatively bone stock, and all they did was ride this thing, which is pretty cool to see. And, I mean, it does not look like a bike with 33,000 miles on it. It definitely looks like it was well taken care of. So it looks like it got the heel shifter, too. Cool thing with these bikes as well, lots of cool things, but you already had extra lighting, so you had these nice little, and it's all LED so far as the headlight and the passing lamps. On this, you do still have the halogen turn signals. But I'll show you the rear. Nice side lighting from that tour pack. Look at all that light right there. So that's pretty nice, pretty nifty. Other than that, throw a leg over this thing, show you what it's like. If you utilize the CB system, you don't like using a Cardo. Don't know why, but you do have the little hookup here, so if you just want to plug a headset in, then you can do that. So the only real advantage I've seen to that is if you're someone who's doing like a lot of miles every day, like 800 or so, those Cardos can kind of those Cardos can wear a little bit, and so their batteries, might die by the end of the day. But if you stop for lunch and top them off, then you can make it through the whole day. But if you just stay on the road all the time, then you might like that direct connection. Let's go ride. Also, if you're looking for a new bike for this winter, this is a great one. If you want to do some serious miles and also do a lot of miles this winter, this will be a good one for that, because not only do you have lots of wind protection, you also have these nice heated grips. This feels nice. Hands nice and low here. Looks like it does have ABS, but it does not have traction control. So I feel like doing burnouts and you'll be good to roll on this thing. Yeah, this feels nice. It's just riding a road glide, and I feel so far back on those bikes, but on this, it's just Everything's right here. Ooh, that suspension is nice. That's nice and soft. About to go put this bike right where it likes to live, and that is on the highway. 6th gear, that's where this bike wants to live, just cruising right there. You ride these bikes around the parking lot and you realize, you sit on the bike and you're like, wow, this bike is heavy and big, and it is. Once you get it moving, it's amazing how well this bike glides with that low center of gravity, this wheel setup, and that torque. There's a reason why so many folks choose to ride these bikes still. But sitting right at 6th gear, just cruising, this bike wants to do it. We're not going for the pass, baby. I might go for the pass. Yeah. 6th gear, 70 miles an hour, 3,000 RPMs, just rolling. And it's a 114, so I'm at 3,000. I want to go past, roll on and pick it up some and go right on around when I need to. I got the highway pegs, so I can go ahead and stretch on out here. This feels like a weird, interesting position. Ooh, get a little more breeze on my feet because I have these nice, I didn't realize how much wind that these lowers were deflecting until now. Yeah, and you see I'm a little bit warm right now because this fairing's doing such a good job, so let me go ahead and redirect some of this air behind the fairing. Get a little more breeze up in here. It's nice to be able to make small, quick adjustments like that on your bike. That'll make such a huge difference when you're doing some pretty big miles. You feel this on my fingers now too. That's nice. That's what it's all. That's one of the biggest things about doing such long distances is, when you're talking about traveling 1,000 miles across America or really anywhere. I mean, 1,000 miles. I mean, the weather can be completely different, just an hour down the road. But when you start talking about 1,000 miles away, it's a big difference between here and there. So, and especially, I mean, if you ran 1,000 miles from North Carolina or from Raleigh and went straight west down 40, I mean, that puts you over the Appalachians Mountains. Well, pretty much back in Flatland, Tennessee, I think. I hadn't done that math in a while. I don't think I've ever done an iron butt straight west, but it puts you pretty far out there. So, but I mean, halfway through that, I mean, you're going to be cruising through the Appalachian Mountains. So it gets kind of cold up there. I mean, even like riding places like the desert, go right up to South Dakota, go right through the Badlands. I mean, you can be, nice, hot, 90 degrees in the sun, and then all of a sudden, hailstorm comes through, and it's, you're getting a little bit nippy there at night. So having quick little adjustments you can make on your bike to really be able to keep rolling is huge. Now, of course, you don't have to be that you don't have to be that hardcore all the time. You can't stop or throwing the layer on, but especially if you're in groups and you just want to keep rolling, quick little adjustment or close those up, turn my heated grips up. Those are so nice to be able to do. And this bike, with all the protection you're getting from the cold on this thing, and with all the luggage capacity and the comfort, this is a phenomenal bike for touring in general, but especially for coming up on these colder months right now. So you can tuck in a little bit on that motor heat and feel a little nice and cozier. And I want to say these lowers have a little vent too, so you can shoot some air through there. kind of bypass the radiator, and so you can get a little more breeze up in there. Always nice. Man, these things just turn so good. If you ever, should highly recommend, once you've watched all of our videos on our YouTube channel, or maybe you can take a break at some point, you should definitely watch some of those videos of the motor cops and those police rodeos. They're on bikes very similar to this, and they're just doing some pretty impressive feats with them. So that's definitely worth the watch. And then you kind of get an idea for just how smooth these bikes do. Now, with those situations, that's a little more rider skill over bike ability, but having a bike that can do that stuff definitely makes it a little bit easier. And this 114 Milwaukee 8 is ready to roll. Now, there's two big downsides to this bike. First one, of course, is going to be the weight. Being able to manage all this weight, because living at this level of luxury is not without its trade-off, and the biggest trade-off on this thing is going to be that weight. So once you get used to it, it's not too bad. Is it a bike I'd want to go, if you did, like, for instance, like I do a lot of camping when I go ride places, so I don't really hotel hop that much. You know, a lot of it's, you know, on some sketchy gravel road somewhere. So this bike would be a little bit much for a lot of those 90% of the riding that I'm doing. This would be great for, but it's that 10% that it would be really not great at. So that's why, you know, I lean towards the Softail, something that's a little bit easier to get around those areas. But for this bike, you know, it's so good at that other stuff that, you know, that maybe it's worth the trade-off to you to have a bike that's this comfortable for doing those kinds of miles. So it's all about you and your type of riding and how you want to do it. The other big complaint with this motorcycle is once you ride this bike, it's very hard to go back to another one. Once you go put some miles down on this thing, then if you've got an old Softail or something like that, especially if it's like an old twin cam Softail or a Dyna, you're gonna hop back on that bike and be like, man, I miss my Ultra. Or especially if your passenger rides on this thing a lot, once they start riding on this, ooh, I hope you don't have another bike that you like to ride with them, because they're going to want to be taking this one all the time. This is the bike people like to go take naps in the back of. So it's pretty nice. It'll spoil you real fast. I spent a month on a street glide, and then I got back on my old 04 Softail, and when I got back on it, I was like, what's wrong with this bike? And I was like, oh, it's just not nearly as smooth as this Ultra is, or as that street glide was. I want to show you guys this right quick. So, wow, look at that, the gate's open. So welcome to Building 4. What we got going on here? Some more bikes. Look at that. Which bike to choose? So yeah, if you're looking for new or used, we got them. So don't worry about those bikes. Yeah, no, we got some bikes. So this happens to be a 2022 Harley-Davidson Ultra Limited, and I want to thank you for being on our ride and review and checking this bike out. But if there's another bike you're looking for, there's a good chance that we have it. So be sure to reach out and holler at us. And in the meantime, ride safe, and we hope to see you soon.